It has happened. The thing that we feared the most, that so many people dread, both athletes and the fans of these athletes, it has happened. Late last night, during the home game for the USC Trojans, them versus the Mississippi Bulldogs, Juju Watkins went down. She took a nasty fall, and she has unfortunately torn her ACL. I blame Jaden Daniels' mama for this. I know she jinxed Juju Watkins. Maybe it's too soon, okay? Obviously, this is not a joking manner, but again, like I literally was crushed, guys. Again, I was literally on my phone actually editing the previous video on my channel when I talked about Angel Reese versus her brother Juju Reese, okay, the irony. And I was just talking about, who's the better player overall. And of course, Angel Reese came out on top. And when I was editing that video on my phone, I had looked up because like I had the game, the USC versus the Mississippi Bulldogs game going on. And I noticed like it got really quiet and I heard like an audible gasp from the crowd. And I seen freaking Juju Watkins on my screen, writhing in pain, holding her freaking leg. This is what you call heartbreak. Not just any heartbreak. This is heartbreak on a full moon. Okay.
What the fuck, y'all? God damn! God damn! God damn!
What?
Fuck! Fuck!
It's just so much going on. I literally went through all 5 stages of grief last night. Okay. As soon as I saw that happen, and I noticed that, she wasn't even like on the sideline. Sometimes like, you might, a player may feel a little ting, a tingle, a twinge, a sharp pain, a throbbing pain. And like, they'll be on the sidelines on the bench while the game resumes and they're getting treated by medical staff. She was just completely gone. And by the third quarter, she still didn't, come back into the game. And it was just like, it was really messing with me. Okay. Obviously like they blew out the Mississippi Bulldogs, right? But I kept looking in the freaking, like not the crowd, the stands, but I kept looking at the bench for the USC Trojans. Juju not there. And then again, I kept watching the game here. Then to the third quarter, I just have to turn it off because it's like, obviously like she's not coming back. And then I kept looking at the game and I kept looking at freaking Kennedy Smith. And Kennedy Smith, low-key, is like her twin. I always say, like, Juju Watkins is the good Juju and Kennedy Smith is the bad Juju. Okay, she's more, aggressive, more hype, more, extroverted, more like, overall, like, she's just more extroverted. So I'm like, that's the bad Juju to Juju Watkins, good Juju. And I'm like, I'm looking at the freaking game and I keep on looking at Kennedy Smith thinking that's Juju Watkins. I'm a part of a group chat, about women's basketball. They were like, some guy in the group chat immediately was like, what, guys, that's a torn ACL. He's like, I've seen this so many times. And like, we're trying to be more positive about it. We're like, nah, I don't think that's what it is. But of course, unfortunately, he was right. It was a torn ACL. I literally turned off the game at the third quarter. I took a shower and went to sleep. Again, guys, I want this to be a positive video. Again, what she's going through is unfortunate. Like literally when I saw what happened, like when she went down, like the fact that she was not even able to, actually walk out, like just in the previous game, because the other day, her ankle, she had something going on with her ankle. And, a lot of people are blaming Lindsay Gottlieb. They were like, you know what? Again, I'm doing my research. Okay. I want to do another video on this when I do more research. But people are saying that, allegedly, again, I'm not a medical doctor, that when someone hurts their ankle, even if it's a little bit, it leaves you more vulnerable to knee injuries and more specific ACL injuries. And they were like, well, Lindsay Gottlieb should have never even allowed her to be in this game at all due to her ankle, feeling some type of way just a game previously, okay? Just a game the other day. So people are like, it's Lindsay Gottlieb's fault. And then it's some more too. They saying like, again, like, first of all, we got to understand this. Injuries come with the territory of being an athlete. People are saying that Diamond DeShields, if you don't know her, guys, she was one of my problematic skyscrapers in the Chicago sky. She is no longer. She has now been traded to the Connecticut Sun. But apparently Diamond DeShields has a little sister who apparently she plays for the Mississippi Bulldogs. Now, again, this is all alleged. They're saying like the girl who kind of made contact with Juju Watkins, but when she had, felt that impact on her knee and that what torn her ACL, they're saying that's Diamond DeShields' little sister. Again, I'm not sure, but even if it is her little sister, whoever that young lady may be, she did make a very brief moment of contact with Juju Watkins, but again, that's a part of the game. Basketball is it's a team sport. It's a contact sport. Things happen. Again, unfortunately, injuries are a part of the territory. We cannot blame that young lady or any of the young ladies on the Mississippi Bulldogs. Again, we're about to, soon be into the Elite Eight and then the Final Four and then the championship coming next month. And women's college basketball, of course, things are going to get more, they're going to be more aggressive. Everybody is fighting. They're fighting for that spot. They're fighting for a chance for that championship, for the national natty. And it's like, Malia Samuel, she looks almost as if she almost got concussed, okay, in this game last night. she kind of, again, like she made contact with the Mississippi Bulldogs player. I don't believe it was malicious or, malintent, but she took it, like she smacked her head on the court. It was just bad. Then, she kind of, she got out the game, you know. At the end, when they actually won, it was like 96 to 50 something. Okay, we was up like 40, 50 points, a win for the USC Trojans. Ray and Marshall, the USC Trojans, felt some type of way. She literally, at the end of the game, when it's time for them to high five each other and congratulate each other, the losers and the winners, Ray and Marshall had stepped to them girls. Like, again, it was a very emotional game. Again, guys, I just want to make this a positive video, okay? We can't look at this as like a major setback. Again, unfortunately, again, it felt like a knife to my stomach. It felt like a knife to my heart when I seen her get down. And then when I got the ESPN alerts to my phone that officially, had declared like, yes, she has suffered a torn ACL and she must undergo surgery, and like the season is no more. Okay, she can no longer play in the season. And they also went on to say that this will be a season-ending injury for Juju Watkins because, again, like she tore her ACL, she must undergo surgery. That literally was just ripped apart. Okay, and it made me do a little bit of research. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, but it just had me Googling around because, again, I was just that desperate. Again, I went through the 5 stages of grief. So it says recovery from an ACL tear. Again, this is according to Google AI. It says especially after surgery typically takes between 6 to 12 months, with a full return to sports previous activity levels often taking closer to 9 to 12 months. So again, guys, that's a good sign. We have so much advancements in medicine, technology, sports medicine, nutrition, fitness, health, and wellness science. So again, like the kickoff, of course, for women's college basketball for the 2025 upcoming season. Okay, it won't be until November. That's about 7, maybe 8 months away. She could possibly, again, if everything goes well with the surgery, and like if she has like a really good surgeon, really good like fitness and sports health nutritionist, like a wellness coach, we could possibly see her make a great comeback in this upcoming November season. And again, a little bit more health science. So again, like this is from Twitter. This was a Twitter post I saw. Someone had tweeted, this man said, something that's extremely interesting that my wife told me about. She was a college athlete and is involved in the PT/OT world. Not sure what that is that during menstrual cycles and ovulation, women have a higher risk of knee injuries along with the skeletal structure of wider hips than males. Because again, if you guys don't know this, female athletes, I'm not an athlete, okay? Female athletes are more prone to ACL tears and just overall injuries than men. And again, like it kind of makes sense. Our bodies are more fragile. We don't have as much bone density. Our bones are not as thick. We don't have as much muscle mass. Okay, muscle mass is huge. They said that men have about 30% more muscle mass in their knees. Okay, that surrounds that ACL, that MCL, those meniscus. Okay, of the disc of the knee. So again, like they have a lesser chance of tearing that ACL. Women, unfortunately, it just seems like it's just something that like it plagues the women's sports world. Okay, but again, I'm saying this because there's light at the end of the tunnel. But again, like that's very interesting what they say about women are more likely to tear an ACL during their menstrual cycle and ovulation cycle. And it's like it's just crazy because it's like, well, let's say like if these female athletes, I'm more than sure that more than half of them are on, say, something like such as birth control methods. Now imagine you're on the birth control pill as a female athlete. If you guys don't know, it's been studies, again, it's up and down, but birth control pills, they actually weaken women's bones. You have a higher chance or increased risk of being, fragile bones, osteoporosis when you get older. So it's like you're trying to take a pill because, we can't have no babies, okay? I'm team no kids over around here. You don't want to have, an unwanted pregnancy. But even if you don't take the pill, but if you do take the pill, you are weakening your bones. But if you don't take the pill, just being a woman on your menstrual cycle or when that time enough when you're ovulating, that can last from some hours to 3 days to 7 days. Some women say they last longer for them, longer than a week. I'm like, that's crazy to think that you can ovulate that long. And it's like your bones and everything is just weaker. Like your ACL, your knees, so it just makes you more injury prone. Again, like these are the things that we need to study in order to prevent, and aid female athletes and women who play sports, little girls who play sports. Okay, this is not just a collegiate level or a professional level thing when it comes to women playing sports. Even girls in middle school and high school are getting torn up, and it's crazy. Just recently on March 4th, Kyrie Irving, unfortunately, he also suffered an ACL tear, but to his left knee. And people were saying, like, you know what, we should get USC Trojans, Coach Lindsey Gottlieb to be perhaps a possible mentor and, you know, offer guidance and leadership towards, you know, Juju Watkins. Like, that's brilliant, okay? Get her around somebody who knows the game of basketball, who's going through this injury, okay? I don't believe this is his first time tearing his ACL, but even if it isn't, or if it is or isn't, it would be a very good feeling for her. It'd be comforting for her to have someone walk her through this while she's going through this journey, and just to know that she's not going through this journey alone. Again, I believe truly this is just a minor setback for a major comeback, okay? If you ask me, it's almost a rite of passage for female basketball players, and more specific, okay, to tear that ACL or have a huge injury, but mainly a torn ACL, and they just go leaps and bounds, okay, in a professional career. Look at Candace Parker. She tore her ACL when she was in high school. Broke records in the WNBA. Look at Paige Beckers. Look at AZ Fudd. Okay, torn ACL, torn MCL, and a torn meniscus, a disc that had, you know, went bad in her knees. Look at both of them. Okay, again, I'm not trying to sound morbid or insensitive towards Juju Watkins, but again, like, you got to just stay positive. This is kind of how I see it. Again, like, you know, our lives are kind of already mapped out. Fate is fate. Our destiny is our destiny. Let's say perhaps because Juju Watkins has got this torn ACL and she is no longer able to continue this current season, what if this opens up an opportunity for Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong to perhaps win the championship, the Natty? Again, I'm a fan of talent. I'm a fan of raw talent, skill, precision. Again, unfortunately, it was just like not in her cards for her to be healthy enough at this moment, Juju Watkins. But again, if let's say, like, you know what, the Trojans can no longer, you know, get it there, get to the championship. I love UConn and Gino. I love Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks. I love Kim Mulkey and the LSU Tigers. Again, it's like, I don't see this. I can no longer see this with like a negative lens. Again, it's just too many stories of women, specifically female basketball players, who have gotten torn ACLs, even especially male basketball players and male athletes, period. Again, she's going to make a huge comeback, guys. We cannot allow this to deter her. Okay, I really hope that she goes to therapy, perhaps, you know, seek out a sports psychologist. Because again, I know how she is. I don't know her personally, but, like, you know, she's a very fierce competitor. She has that intensity. And, like, I just know, like, you know, she's probably beating herself up mentally. Like, you know, I feel useless towards my team, my family, my community. I let my city down. You know, she probably feels weak. Okay, I'm one of those people. I don't like feeling vulnerable and weak. You know, they got the camera all in her face. She was crying because obviously she was in extreme pain. Again, just looking up, you know, ACL tears. One girl said, like, when she tore her ACL, she said she felt like she was hearing colors. She was in that much pain. Imagine having a camera thrown into your face while you are going through such a vulnerable and just not even uncomfortable, just an excruciating, painful moment. Again, I'm sending good juju out to Juju Watkins. Okay, good juju, no bad juju. And this is delayed, not denied. Juju Watkins will come back stronger than ever. Okay, mark my words. This is just a small, minor setback to a major comeback. Again, I'm sending out nothing but good, positive energy to Juju Watkins because I know for a fact she will come back stronger than ever.